Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So real quick, my background, I was doing kind of counterterrorism intel, graduate degree from Georgetown School of Foreign Service and Intelligence, and then later changed careers to go into medicine, went to Georgetown for med school, and created the GSMSG group, which if you guys haven't heard of it, it's basically about 2,000 prior special operations or intel folks who are mostly medical providers, and we provide surgical care and training in austere areas around the world. With Ukraine, for example, we had the first U.S. surgical team on the ground when the war started, and we're training the UKRSOF and their forces basically through till today. So kind of our area of niche operations is kind of austere areas and kind of within that security context. So the space is the ultimate austere area, so I figure this would be a good place to kind of chime in. That being said, beyond the kind of technical applications and real hands-on, my talk is kind of more just kind of on the context and things that should be in discussions going forward in terms of, space, surgery in space, what is the need for that, et cetera, et cetera. So, let's see, is this the slide button here? Or? All right, so usual disclaimer, head of the group. I'm also a subject matter expert and contractor for Department of Defense's Irregular Warfare Center, specializing in their austere area surgical programs. And as per the usual, I don't represent DoD. I think that's 7 seconds. All right, so kind of getting into it here. So, as we stand, I would say, on the edge of becoming a multiplanetary species, it's really crucial to consider not just the technological challenges of space exploration and surgery, but also the geopolitical and security implications that come with it. So today I'll, briefly touch on, patterns of exploration and conflict that might repeat themselves as humanity, reaches out into the cosmos. So history often serves as the mirror, reflecting future possibilities based on past actions. The colonialization of the Americas and Africa and the territorial disputes over the Arctic and Antarctic regions, have all shown that new frontiers can become flashpoints of conflict. All of these historical episodes have common themes of competition for resources and strategic dominance, which we can expect to translate into the space domain. For example, the space race between the US and the Soviet Union during the Cold War was not just a pursuit of scientific milestones, but also a profound demonstration of military and technological capabilities. The current landscape of space exploration is characterized by a mixture of state and non-state actors. Nations like the USA, China, and Russia are prominent. Private corporations such as SpaceX and Blue Origin are also significant. Each brings different intentions and capabilities to space. China's advancements with the Strategic Support Force, focusing on integrating space into their military doctrine to a degree that I personally think is much greater than the US has done, are particularly noteworthy. Such developments signal a shift towards the outright militarization of space, which raises stakes for other nations and private entities. The dynamics of space threats are multifaceted. We face traditional military threats like anti-satellite weapons that can disable or destroy satellites, causing significant disruption to global communications and navigation systems. Then there's the pervasive risk of space debris, which even, small space debris traveling at high speeds can damage spacecraft, satellites, or even pose a lethal risk to astronauts. For instance, imagine a future where debris from a destroyed satellite endangers a manned mission to Mars, requiring immediate evasive actions and international collaboration to mitigate that crisis. In terms of the legal and diplomatic challenges, space law currently encompasses treaties like the Outer Space Treaty of 1967, which was crafted when spaceflight was essentially in its infancy. And as we look towards habitats on the Moon or Mars, this treaty and others will need substantial updates to address these new realities. Questions of sovereignty, resource rights, and conflict resolution in space definitely require an expanded legal framework. Consider the potential for disputes over mining rights on the Moon, which could mirror the early days of oil exploration on Earth, where unclear legal frameworks led to conflicts. And who really wants, Middle East conflicts mirrored on the Moon? That would Be pretty awful. In terms of ethical and policy implications, as we expand into space, we also must consider the ethical implications of our actions. How do we ensure that space remains a common heritage for all humankind, as stated in the Outer Space Treaty? How do we balance national interest with global cooperation? These ethical questions must be integrated into policy discussions to prevent space from becoming a domain dominated by a few at the expense of the many. And then there's space tourism. The rise of space tourism introduces significant new challenges in ensuring the safety and security of an untrained civilian population in space. As commercial ventures aim to make space more accessible, the risk profiles change, introducing new security protocols and emergency preparedness measures. So ensuring robust safety measures for these new astronauts will be as crucial as it is for the traditional governmentally trained astronauts. So to conclude, the security of space and the potential threats to astronauts who we or future generations will need to deal with is a multifaceted issue that extends beyond simple conflict between nations. It encompasses legal, ethical, and technological challenges that we must address as part of our journey to the stars. As we advance our capabilities and aim for distant worlds, we also need to aim to ensure that space does not become a battleground, but a place for peaceful exploration and cooperation. So with that, I thank you for joining me in discussing these critical points as we go forward. That's all.